British Prime Minister Theresa May rejected a definition of Islamophobia determined by a parliamentary group. This was because the definition apparently needs further consideration. Martin Hewitt, who chairs the National Police Chiefs Council, claimed that the definition of Islamophobia is problematic. In a letter to Prime Minister Theresa May, he stated that the definition can cause confusion amongst officers and hamper the fight against terrorism. The APPGBM proposed this definition after months of consultations. The APPGBM is a group made up of MPs from various political backgrounds. The APPGBM was established after the Finsbury Park terror attack, which left a Muslim worshipper dead and 9 others injured. The APPGBM calls on the term to be defined as Islamophobia is rooted in racism and is a type of racism that targets expressions of Muslimness and perceived Muslimness. The UK government refused to accept this definition on the grounds it may hinder anti-terror work and restrict free speech. Instead, the government will appoint 2 new advisors to produce their own definition of Islamophobia.
But equally, that it commands broad support within communities and wider society. And I say to colleagues across the House, with the best of intent, the APP definition at this stage does not yet meet this, and further work and consideration is needed.
It's a cracking report. It's based on evidence from the people themselves who know and understand it, and it has been accepted by dozens of their communities in every political party, apart from the Conservative Party. If it's good enough for Ruth Davidson, it's good enough for our Prime Minister.
Haroon Khan from the Muslim Council of Britain said, "To claim that merely defining this racism is somehow an impediment to free speech is deeply disingenuous and appears to be a willful misreading of the definition." The definition of Islamophobia has, however, been accepted by 750 Muslim organisations and institutions, as well as various political parties such as Labour, the Liberal Democrats, Scottish National Party and Scottish Conservatives. The Muslim Council of Britain accused the government of denying Muslims the right to define their own oppression and trivialise their protection. They stated that by rejecting the definition, this government is not interested in protecting the rights of British Muslims, and that the very basic right of Muslims to define their own oppression has been denied. MCB state that Islamophobes will feel their right to discriminate has been validated, whilst structural Islamophobia will continue to thrive. So why is this rejection problematic and discriminatory? 1. For the government to reject the definition, there has to be either an acceptance of Islamophobia and or a lack of seriousness for it. 2. Rejection keeps open the door for Muslims to be subject to hate speech, attacks and discrimination. It allows bigots and racists to validate their abuse against Muslims. 3. The justification that there is a threat of terrorism in British society and therefore we cannot accept Islamophobia as a definition is nonsense. Why is it okay for Muslims to be abused and discriminated against because some savages have committed acts of terrorism in the name of their faith? 4. Since the Christchurch shootings, the attacks on Muslims and mosques have increased. Muslims are victims of terrorism too, but why is this not important? Just look at the number of Islamophobic attacks on Muslims across the years. 6,000 offences in 2017 in the UK alone. 5. It is the duty of the government to protect a community from being attacked or vilified for their faith, to prevent their properties and places of worship from being attacked, from being discriminated at work or in the public sphere. 6. There's a definition for anti-Semitism for the Jewish community, so why not Islamophobia for Muslims? Both Muslims and Jews are targeted in the same way, only Muslims face more blatant and higher levels of discrimination in Western society. Why the double standards?
The International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism. So does it seem like a bit of double standards here based on what Peter's just said?
Anti-Semitism is a helpful thing. I think that there's a problem with anti-Semitism, so sometimes it needs defining, and Jewishness is much more a racial thing than Islamness is, or being a Muslim Muslims don't define themselves as a race, whereas Jews much more, it is that kind of thing. And furthermore, anti-Semitism does allow you to criticise Jewish practices or Jewish beliefs and that kind of thing without being anti-Semitic. This definition of Islamophobia risks conflating criticising the religion with criticising people, because it's saying expressions of Muslimness. Well, that could include Muslim beliefs or advocating for Muslim beliefs, and that's a real problem, that it could hinder free speech, and I think that really needs to be re-examined and critically responded to.
Defining Islamophobia gives recognition to this type of abuse and discrimination, thus making prosecutions easier and quicker. We need to recognise that there is a serious problem in British society where Muslims are abused simply for being Muslim. At times, those who even look like a Muslim and are not have been attacked. Muslims are continuously vilified in the media, spied on, wrongly imprisoned and condemned if they dare talk about foreign policy. How can Muslims be expected to integrate, feel secure and become productive members of society if they are continuously being attacked, undermined and discriminated against? To continually insult and discriminate a community, to justify racism against them is uncivilised, unjust and disrespectful. It also causes societies to live in misery and tension. The UK government is hypocritical and favours certain groups of people and communities over others. There have been numerous incidents where the Conservative Party targeted their abuse at Muslim women in recent times. Again, these were left unchallenged and protected under the guise of free speech. The UK government needs to put a stop to Islamophobia, and it needs to stop treating Muslims as second-class citizens.